Shaken Booktube, my name's Cam, welcome back to another video. It's been nearly 2 years for me on Booktube, and it goes without saying that I love this community. I love the hobby that is making videos for Booktube, and I love being involved in Booktube, whether that's on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, especially, wherever. I love it. But like everything in life, it's not perfect, and in order to improve in any way, in any aspect of life, the first step is one that goes backwards so that you can take a look at it for what it is and assess what may need to change. The first step to fixing a problem is accepting that there is one. With that said, these are just my opinions, so they aren't actually necessarily problems, but for me personally, I feel like they're things that we, including me, could improve on. And then on the flip side of that, I'm also going to tell you some things that I think we are doing just right. Oh yes. Hi, are you following me on Twitter yet? In this video, I'm going to tell you 4 things that I love and 4 things that I hate about Booktube. You know what, hate's probably a dramatic word. Look, I won't bullshit you, I was just trying to get your attention. These aren't things that I hate. I'm not sure there's many things in life I do hate, but they are a bother. And they do frustrate me, and I don't like them. You know what, maybe I do hate them. I think it's immediately obvious that I should probably start with something that I love. I'll go love, hate, love, hate, love, hate. And I have 4 of each. Number 1 thing I love about Booktube, and it's just the obvious one, I'm gonna get it out of the way, is the community. And I won't just say, I love the community and the friendship and make really vague statements. I will be specific about what it is about the community that I love. The Booktube community, and I've been watching YouTube videos like most people my age. I've been watching them since I was like a kid. And I haven't seen any community on YouTube, you know, like gaming, beauty, anything like that, where they do collaborative things as religiously as Booktube does. And some examples of this are collabs themselves, or an even better example is book tags. That's something that you don't see in many other communities on YouTube, and I think that is the best example that we all kind of have each other's backs. The fact that one of the videos that is a staple in Booktube, along with wrap-ups and TBRs, etc., is book tags, something that quite literally involves tagging other people and being collaborative, I think is just fantastic. Within the first week of joining Booktube, it's likely, especially if you're doing the Booktube newbie tag, that you're going to have a lot of people commenting and becoming friends of yours. Some of the first people that commented on my Booktube newbie tag video like nearly 2 years ago are still people that I talk to today and are friends with. There are literally countless examples I could give you about how involved the community is when it comes to Booktube. In the grand scheme of things, it's small, and as such, it's tight-knit. And sometimes that can be a fault as well, but that's something I'll get to on the flip side of this. Something that I've found I'm not a fan of when it comes to Booktube, which is, it's a really small thing, and I'm willing to admit that it's quite pedantic, but it does kind of give me an uncomfortable itch, is people asking for subscribers. And I'm not just talking about the, you know, common spam accounts that comment on your videos saying, hi, check out my channel, please subscribe, blah blah blah. I'm also talking about, and this happens on Twitter quite a lot, it's when someone will be either promoting themselves or someone else and saying, please go subscribe to this YouTube channel. I think I might have even done it in the past, but it's something I'm actively trying to avoid doing, because I know it seems like your intentions are good, but it could end badly. And this does include when people make posts like, you know, I'm 10 subs away from 5,000, please help me get there. It's just, I'm not a fan of doing that. And I'll give you an example why. So you might remember a while back when the Adpocalypse 2.0, I think it was, kind of happened, and they changed the rules for being monetized, and a lot of the smaller channels found that they were being demonetized. What we saw happen on Twitter was that massive threads were being created where people were like, please subscribe to all these small content creators so that they can have enough subs to be monetized, and everyone was getting on board with that, except for me. I made a prediction early on, and that prediction came true. And that was that all of these small channels would get an absolute surge of subscribers, which would be fantastic. That'd be brilliant, especially if it got them over the line for monetization. I have no problem with that. But these would be subscribers subscribing simply for the sake of charity or pity, or because they want to feel like they're doing something good. And then a couple of weeks pass and this whole demonetization drama blows over, and those people realize that they don't actually have that much of an interest in this channel they've subscribed to, so they unsubscribe. And then these small creators are seeing their subscriber count go and that happened. I saw all of these people who were a part of these threads on Twitter like a month after the demonetization happened saying, why am I losing so many subscribers? This sucks. And I felt sorry for them, but at the same time I was like, it's because you are asking people to subscribe to you blindly, and you should never do that. I don't want you to get it twisted and think I have a problem with people promoting other channels. I don't. I think it is absolutely fantastic if you're, especially on Twitter, if you're promoting another channel and you're saying, please check them out. But saying, please check them out and saying, please subscribe to them is completely different. If I'm ever promoting another channel, I would hope that I'm saying, please go check them out, rather than please subscribe to them, because I want you to have a look at them. And if you're interested, if their content is interesting enough, it should do the job for them, and you would subscribe. But if you go on social media and you try to, beg for those last few subscribers to get you to a milestone, you're probably going to see another drop in subscribers a bit further down the line, and that's not going to do anyone any favors. So I think it's just a behavior we should cut out. To summarize, tell people to check out channels you like. Don't tell them to subscribe to channels you like. Next thing I love about Booktube is how much access you have to information about quite literally any book there is. If there is pretty much any mainstream book that you're interested in reading, all you need to do is type into YouTube the name of the book and then spoiler-free review, and you're gonna find like at least maybe 10 reviews for it. And I think that actually goes further than books as well. You can extend that to pretty much anything like poetry or any form of creative writing, including non-fiction. Maybe it's not even reviews of a book you're after, but maybe you're after some how-to information when it comes to books, or you want to look up some videos about a discussion about a particular book or a bookish topic. It's gonna be there, and if it's not there, it's gonna be there sooner or later, especially if it's identified as not being there. I just truly believe that YouTube is one of the greatest databases for information on books and writing that there is. Number 2 thing I hate is the author versus reviewer mentality. I've already done a whole video discussing this in more detail, so if you want to actually watch that and see what I'm talking about in depth, you can check out the card. But essentially it's just that at certain times you will see, especially on Twitter again, that there is a divide building between a certain author or certain authors and the reviewing community, and we act like it's 2 camps when really it's only one. And when a bunch of reviewers tend to be pissed off about an author, it turns into a mob mentality, which is something I despise. It quickly snowballs into a situation where the reviewing community at large is saying, we need to hate or boycott this author, and if you aren't hating and boycotting this author as well, then you're part of the problem. And what's worse is that a lot of the people getting involved in these witch hunts, so to speak, don't even read the book. They just go off what everyone else is saying. Anyway, like I said, there's a whole video going into that you can check out. Next thing I love about Booktube is that it's not just about reading, it's also about writing. One of the branches of Booktube is AuthorTube. It is, to my opinion, the best source of information and promotion for writing. If you're a writer that is in touch with how Booktube works and how AuthorTube works, you're going to have a lot more chances of success. That's just a fact. If there's anything you're confused about when it comes to your writing, you'll find answers on Booktube, or more specifically AuthorTube. If you're not finding that information through writing tip videos, you'll find it through some videos more on the book and reading side of the fence as well. For example, the cliches I hate videos, which you'll see everywhere, is pretty much a guide of writing and plot devices to avoid in your writing. Booktube is easily one of the best tools for a writer. It's just a fact, and as an aspiring writer, I love it. Next thing I hate is something that's been talked about a billion times on Booktube, so I'm not going to go too into it, but it's ingenuine reviews, which most commonly come in the form of sponsored reviews. Don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with people doing sponsored reviews. I'm not completely against that. It's just specific instances where you can tell they're avoiding saying anything negative. For example, every time they bring up a con about the book, they'll say, but that's just my opinion, you might not see it that way. Every single time. You'll know some of the booktubes I'm talking about. That one's not so much of a big deal because, well, A, I can only make the assumption that they're being ingenuine. It doesn't really make it a reality. And B, if I have a certain level of distrust in the reviews of a particular booktuber, all I need to do is not watch their videos. The next and last thing I love about Booktube is that it makes reading fun. Put simply, that's it. Booktube has done fantastic things for reading. I truly believe that Booktube is responsible for keeping reading alive, as healthy as it is in the younger audiences today. Whether we're doing that through, digital events like BEA, or whether we're doing it with things like book tags and comedy on Booktube and all the games and the tens of thousands of ways in Booktube that we've made reading more enjoyable. I think that carries a tremendous value, and I think it's something that I'm hoping is appreciated more as time goes on by YouTube at large and by, I guess, everyone. But I think it is. I think Booktube's starting to be recognized for what it is in the reading community, how valuable it really is. Last but not least, the last thing I hate about Booktube, or last thing I strongly dislike about Booktube, is something that again I've spoken about at length in another video, which I'll link up here. But I will also link to a video in the description below for a channel called Damien Terrakeys, because he did a really, really good video on this, probably even better than the one I did. Definitely better than the one I did. And that is essentially the use of terms like problematic within book reviews and in the Booktube community. I would urge that you watch my video before you just take that statement for the few words it is, because there's a lot more involved in that rather than just that. But essentially, yeah, I feel like anything that is challenging or uncomfortable for people to read about nowadays is getting quite easily labeled problematic, which is very different to labeling something as a trigger warning, which is absolutely okay to me. I think trigger warnings are fantastic. It's a great way of letting readers know about things that they don't want to read about before they get into it, but calling something problematic is something else entirely. And me and Damien have both spoken about that in a lot of detail. Anyway, that's it. That's 4 things on both sides of the fence that I love and hate about Booktube. The good is always going to outweigh the bad. I mean, I wouldn't still be doing it after all this time if I had any real kind of critical issues with Booktube. I don't. The things I mentioned that I hate or strongly dislike are just things that I think we could improve upon, that's all. Like I said, everything in life can be improved on, and the first step is one that goes backwards. When you take the step backwards, you can look at things for what they really are. Anyway, let me know if there's anything you love or hate in particular about Booktube that I didn't mention. I think there's a lot of room here for some really good discussions that we can have in a friendly setting, of course. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Catch ya.